Hello, welcome to Live from Abuja, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city.
On the show, we will take you through major events that shaped the week in Nigeria and across the world.
I am Ademola Laurent. Sit back, keep your feet up, relax, and enjoy the show.
I am Jane Francis Mweze.
And of course, it's an interesting week. Of course, so many things happened over the week. Starting from the U.S. Chargé d'Affaires says the recently concluded Nigeria-U.S. Bi-National Commission was a review of the cooperation between the two countries on a strategic level. Speaking with TVC's Foreign Affairs reporter, he says the constructive discussion focused on all aspects of cooperation, especially efforts to boost trade, health, and security.
Has existed for about 14 years. Since its establishment, the strategic dialogue has expanded mutual cooperation in areas of increased bilateral trade and security. It also helped in the fight against Boko Haram insurgency.
We were really able to have some very meaty discussions because we also had some specific working groups on topics of real specific interest, like the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act and how we can boost Nigerian exports to the United States, on cybersecurity, on food security. So we really had a really robust conversation. So I think what this does is it helps us align our objectives and make sure that we're moving forward together, identify new areas of cooperation, and I think you're going to see some new stuff coming up over the course of the next year. Certainly Nigeria buys U.S. products as we buy Nigerian products. Two-way trade between our countries in 2023 was over $8 billion, and it's pretty evenly balanced. Nigerians invest in the United States. Americans invest in Nigeria, which creates jobs for both countries.
One of the new things promised at the recent Abuja 6th Binational Commission meeting was a commitment to help advance Nigeria's technology.
Well, we now have, I think, a really elevated focus on technology. And the Deputy Secretary Campbell, mentioned that we're going to be hosting a large symposium on AI here over the summer. And then we're going to have a very large BNC follow-up gathering on technology in Washington, D.C. in October to bring private and public sector together and really strengthen and drive forward cooperation in that space. We're really looking at agriculture and food security as key topics.
One area that has been a challenge to Nigerians in the movement of people is the about 24-month wait period for visa interview dates. The Chargé d'Affaires explains effort in this regard.
What I'd like to say is that we've taken tremendous steps over the last year to increase the availability of visa interviews and to facilitate the process. For example, we have extended the validity of visas from 2 years to 5 so that people don't have to renew their visas so frequently, reducing demand on a biannual basis. We have reestablished an interview waiver program, so if your visa has been used correctly and it's expired any time in the last 4 years, you don't actually need a visa appointment. You can drop your passport off and have your interview most likely waived. We have certainly increased our staffing and stepped up our availability of interviews. To some extent, there is just a problem of math here. There are more people that want U.S. visas than we could possibly staff ourselves to accommodate. In 2023, we issued 87,000 visas to Nigerians. That's a lot.
The 7th U.S. Nigeria Binational Commission is slated to hold in Washington in 2025. Moya Thomas.
In what may be described as a game changer in the campaign of conversion from fossil fuel to green, the Federal Executive Council, in the course of the week, directed all new vehicles, generators, or tricycles procured by the government and its agencies must be powered by compressed natural gas, CNG, solar, or electric. This is in line with the administration's commitment to ensure energy security, drive utility, and cut high fuel costs in the country. This and other issues took center stage at the weekly Federal Executive meeting.
It will now be a leveler for all motorists passing through. Even President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima will pay tolls, just like everyone else, to access federal airports in the country.
The first approval that we sought and obtained is in respect of mandatory payments of access fees by all visitors at our federal airport toll gates nationwide.
The Federal Executive Council meeting also approved the suspension of the controversial 0.5% cyber security levy on electronic bank transactions.
The position of government is that that policy has been suspended. The cyber security levy has been put on hold. It is being reviewed by government. For now, it is on hold.
Another matter that was considered with a resolution passed is the need to ease the visa processing protocol, which has become cumbersome for tourists and investors.
The Minister of Interior is aiming to achieve visa processing within 48 hours. Visa process, meaning that if you put in your application, because the whole process is now being computerized, it will go through a lot of checks. The aim is that within 48 hours that you apply for Nigerian visa, you're going to get it because everything will be online now.
The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road got the backing of the Federal Executive Council for the commencement of Section 2, Phase 1.
FEC also awarded Section 2 of Phase 1 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. The final certificate is given when the job is totally done or about to be concluded, so that all issues are, sorted out. And we've been doing a lot of engagement. Everything about Coastal Road followed due process.
President Bola Tinubu's administration is already on a countdown to the 1-year mark. But the president is also working to ensure Nigerians directly feel the impact of governance and an improvement in the standard of living.
And in Lagos, the presidential CNG initiative is to drive down and manage transportation costs for Nigerians by utilizing the cheaper gas alternative that is abundant but currently underutilized in Nigeria. And your midday Ajay gives us an update on the launch of the initiative in Southwest.
This meeting is to interface with all stakeholders, both professionals and artisans, to drive the message of CNG-powered vehicles and its contributions to a substantial increase in carbon emissions.
It not only seeks to revolutionize Nigeria's transport sector with cleaner energy, but also commits to upskilling and training about 25,000 auto technicians in the process.
Every filling station, the way they have petrol, kerosene, and diesel, to also have a CNG dispenser.
At the panel session, Professor Yola Oni urged government to ensure there is balance between demand and supply so that Nigerians' expectation will not be short-lived.
We must not make a mistake of over-sensitizing people to roll out the conversion and the vehicles. In the end, they will not be able to access this facility.
In layman's language, government representatives state the benefit of CNG-powered vehicles.
2 vehicles were deployed from Abuja to go to Ibadan. The same kind of vehicles, and they got to Ibadan. When they wanted to refill, they found that the petrol-driven vehicle had to spend 50-something thousand naira to refill, whereas the CNG-powered vehicle spent just about 20-something thousand naira.
There are thousands of CNG vehicles all over the world. You don't hear about the explosion of CNG vehicles. But you see, that's about petrol vehicles. So we need to switch to something that's safer.
Drivers, riders, automobile mechanics and artisans say they are ready to align with the CNG revolution as it is an escape from high cost of fuel.
Be sincere is a new development to us because what we have been facing concerning this fuel, and at least if this thing have come, at least it will change many things to our people.
There should be another way that will be a succor for every downtrodden. So, and that is exactly what is happening with CNG.
Every stakeholder here agree that this policy will not just favor the rich, but also the poor in the society. And one of the stakeholders highlighted that federal government should approve a policy that slashes 50% on import duties for all CNG imported vehicles. Ayobide Ajay, TVC News.
Also, in its bid to meet up with the demands of Nigeria in terms of manufacturing, the Presidential Committee on CNG paid a visit to one of its conversion centers at the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
The team led by the program director of the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas toured the facility of Meccano Company that runs on 100% gas and appreciates the level of compliance to world best practices with its seamless conversion process of vehicles to CNG. He admits that questions and doubts on maintenance and sustainability are valid from Nigerians, but wants citizens to look at the bigger picture.
Of course, there will be hiccups, there will be issues, but we will go back inwards, we will solve those issues, and we'll move forward as a nation. Taiwan did not start by making perfect vehicles, or neither did China, neither did Korea or Japan, or even America. There were mistakes that were made along the way. We must be confident enough to be able to accept that mistakes will happen. There will be errors, there will be inadequacies, but we will continue, we will emphasize the use of Nigerian products. And that's what we did in this presidential initiative.
Beyond the gas-powered vehicle is also the drive to utilize gas for all facets of Nigerian economy.
Nigeria has gas, and we're going to use our gas to produce electricity, to produce the inputs to our fertilizer plant, to drive agricultural revolution, to drive our vehicles to ensure that Nigerians can produce cheaper.
The company has successfully collaborated with the federal government in its CNG revolution and promises to do more towards a better economy.
The gas supply becoming more, and the saving of foreign exchange is becoming more. Meccano is assembling CNG. We start with assembling of CNG. We have ordered for so many buses for the government, all of them CNG. There's so many stations built up. Meccano also building a station along Shagamu to fill fuel for the vehicles.
The president, Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, says is optimistic of the ease this revolution will bring on all category of Nigerians.
It's a very good development, but it's going to start in phases. If I heard the DG right now the conversion is for petrol vehicles, and the next phase is going to be for diesel vehicles. So even for the petrol vehicles, there is going to be a lot of savings in terms of the consumption of petrol vis-a-vis the consumption of the gas.
The target is to ensure at least 1 million vehicles run on gas in the next few months, with a priority on commercial vehicles and tricycle. Ayomedia JB, TVC News.
I think this is one of the best things that can happen now, considering the fact that, we have a lot of petrol vehicles around the country. And now that they say this will be in phases, the first phase, of course, will be the petrol vehicles, then before they go to the diesel vehicles. If you have the CNG, I think it will be a good one where people can actually buy gas to fill their car. It's a good one. What do you think?
Well, I think it's also going to, place a lot of burden on people. So you want to look at the fact that they're not converting these things. The conversion is not done for free.
Of course.
So yeah,
you have to
So the cost of conversion, and then so also a lot of people are looking at these issues from the point of view of they're saying it's also going to affect the MDAs. So for the people that the government have already bought cars for. Are we going to see them doing the conversions and all that? But I mean, it's a new trend in Nigeria, and we know that Nigerians like to follow the trend. I'm talking about converting to CNG. So we'll see, who's the first person to buy a CNG car amongst the celebrities, who are the people to do the conversions first and all that. But yeah, we'll follow it up and we'll see how it's...
I think one thing we should also look at is the environmental challenge that will come along with this.
Yeah.
So I think Nigeria, I was listening to the Nasarawa state governor, I think 2 weeks ago, where he said that Nigeria have an abundance even gas than even petrol, and that we need to make use of it. We need to harness it. And I think that to the largest extent, if we can do that, we can be able to get another aspect of where money can come in. Look at generation revenue.
Well, but that when it comes to these issues, there are always, the problem of how we're able to plug the loopholes of managing these resources. So, you get to hear discussions about how how crude oil is being siphoned, and the NPC is trying to, so it's not about having these things in abundance. It's not always about these policies, about how much we manage them to ensure that, the average person in Nigeria gets to benefit. Like maybe you have all the other people in the Gulf states where they are basically surviving on oil money, also feeling the impact of that money from the government. So can we get to a point where Nigerians, start benefiting from the fact that we have a large deficit of gas because we've plugged all the loopholes, so government is actually earning as it should from these resources and distributing it to everyone?
Aside from earning from these huge resources, one thing must be very certain. If Nigeria is transiting from petrol to CNG, it must be available for everybody and must come at a very cheaper price.
Yeah, because we know how to start all these beautiful policies. Cashless policy, and then sometimes you don't find cash.
I don't know about that. No, but I think that it's a good one that the federal government is bringing this up, but we should be able to find them in abundance where we can get all of these things. All right, and then when all of these things are being put in place, it makes it more easier for the masses to get it at a very cheaper price. Okay, when we come back from live from Abuja, we'll have more for you and we'll go straight to headline news. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play. Governance, legislative matters, the economy, security, foreign affairs, internal affairs. Have a feel as strategic plays in the political space determine how we live in Nigeria. The players, the drama, chess piece moves. Be kept informed. Watch analysis of major happenings in the political space and how it affects you. Watch Politics on Sunday.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
To resume service to Nigeria from the 1st of October 2024. It will be operating a daily service between Lagos and Dubai and offering customers more choice and connectivity from Nigeria's largest city through Dubai.
President Bola Tinubu has asked the CBN to suspend the implementation of the cybersecurity levy policy and has ordered a review.
And of course, the Federal Executive Council has directed that all new vehicles, generators, or tricycles procured by government and its agencies must be powered by compressed natural gas, solar, or electric.
Because that's the news we've been on this morning. And lawyers to Namitra Bola have notified the public of a civil suit instituted against Lead British International School following the viral video released on the internet a few weeks ago after she was bullied by another student.
And the House of Representatives Committee on Interior has announced plans to investigate irregularities on the issuance of international passports and the use of residence permits in Nigeria.
In business, India has witnessed a significant surge in its billionaire population over the past decade, with over 100 new additions. According to a recent report by Forbes, India now boasts of a staggering 200 billionaires, marking a remarkable 100% growth in its billionaire population in dollar terms.
And outside Nigeria, South Africa has accused Israel of stepping up what they call genocide in Gaza, urging the International Court of Justice to order a halt to Israel's assault on Rafah. South Africa was kicking off 2 days of hearing at the Peace Palace in Hague, home of the top UN court, imploring judges to order a ceasefire through Gaza.
Wow.
Interesting. And it's another busy day in the nation's federal capital, Abuja, for the group MD&C of TVC Communications. Victoria Ajayi met with the DG of NIMET and his team to find ways of disseminating credible information about the activities of the agency. She was accompanied by some members of our senior management team.
NIMET, strategically located near the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport in the nation's capital, Abuja. It is from these premises that seasoned professionals are hard at work, not just predicting heat waves or imminent flooding. They are in the business of analyzing data that affects virtually every field, from aviation, oil and gas, agribusiness, and tourism. The DG and his management team are on a mission to sensitize Nigerians about their work. Beyond that, they are looking for strategic media partners who share in their vision.
This is a milestone. There are opportunities to get weather and climate information out to the public, out to Nigerian people. It gives us the opportunity to ensure that all the citizens are protected.
In line with the core objectives of dissemination of credible information to our audience across our TV, radio, online and digital channels, the GMD CEO keyed into the vision of NIMET to underscore the huge importance of the agency in our day-to-day activities.
And a lot of people think NIMET is just about weather forecasts, but NIMET actually covers a lot of sectors, from agriculture to aviation to other areas that affect our daily living. And so we believe this partnership is very beneficial to all Nigerians.
The agency relies on its meteorologists who are trained to broadcast the data collated by the center. But one presenter stood out before the cameras as she reeled out the day's forecast.
And so today it's bright, sunny, lovely, and we expect that you go about your day in a jolly good way.
For Team TVC, today's visit was an engaging experience as senior management members listened with rapt attention, questions asked and answered, but time constraints brought the engagement to an end with a firm agreement cementing this new partnership and the presentation of plaques.
Not many Nigerians know that NIMET is not just focused on weather reporting, but now with the commitment from the Director General of the agency and the collaboration from TVC News, more information is coming on weather predictions and how it affects various sectors of the economy. TVC News, Abuja.
I think aside from the fact that the MD and the CEO of TVC went to NIMET, it's also an area of creating awareness on what NIMET is meant for, and I think that TVC has done exceptionally well, to put out the information about how weather forecast has been, how our environment has been affected. I think to a large extent, this is a partnership that will be beneficial to the Nigerian people.
Yeah, of course, and it was also, generally an interesting visit for the MD and CEO of TVC. This 1 week in Abuja, visiting a lot of places and also having that engagement with staff, reassuring them like, okay, so it's a new beginnings, and it's also a continuation of the vision and all what we're trying to do. So taking it from one grade level to another, and talking about the exposure and all the things we learned from their visit alongside her SMT to NIMET. It kind of tells you, okay, really, because there are times that people are confused about a lot of things. Is it going to rain and all that? Would there be flood? So it's good to know that NIMET, is leading this discussion and also bringing out the issue of climate change, how we're going to tackle it, and all that. So it's quite interesting to see that all this is happening.
Okay, but I think to a large extent, the visit has been a very fruitful one and productive one for the MDC of TVC all throughout this week, visiting different agencies and to showcase what the brand is all about. It's a new era, for TVC, and of course.
And if you've been loving us,
this is a time to
love us more. Yeah, you're definitely going to love us more.
I think, and at the same time, one also needs to give a kudos out of the big station, the TV stations in Nigeria. This is the first. She's the only woman who's the group and the CEO. She's a lady, and I think a lot of kudos need to go to her.
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, it's a very huge and challenging role, but she has handled all the management roles before this. So definitely, I mean, this will come with its own challenges, but we're very settling because having to make decisions on finances all these years and now making a general decision on all
over 500 staff members.
Over 500 staff members.
It's a huge one.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting time for her. So you can see that she's very vibed up about the
and this is the time to bring your money to TVC because she's the chief sales marketing person for us. So that's what she came to do in Abuja. So this is the time.
And you know that people actually believe that you can trust women more with your finances.
I agree.
I'm not saying this because
no, but then I agree.
Yeah. So Demola is right about that. You can bring your money to us.
Yeah.
And you trust that we'll utilize it further.
All right.
All right, and of course, we're back to you with an overview of the 3-day visit of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to Africa's most populous black nation. It is the first time the royal couple would be in Nigeria to promote the Invictus Games on its 10th year anniversary since Prince Harry started the Games in 2014. The Duke had used this long-time achievement to promote the Games established for wounded female and male soldiers, while here, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, opened up about her Nigerian heritage at an event on women in leadership during the royal visit. Now, throughout the 3-day visit, our reporters and correspondents covered these activities, giving us on-the-spot analysis of these unfolding events.
There is a stigma when it comes to mental health. Too many people don't want to talk about it because it's invisible. It's something in our mind that we can't see. It's not like a broken leg, it's not like a broken wrist. It's something that we are still relatively unsure of. But guess what? Every single person in this room, the youngest, the oldest, every single person has mental health. So therefore, you have to look after yourself to be able to look after other people, and other people have to be able to look after themselves to look after you.
I'm very overwhelmed, so I want to start by saying thank you very much for just how gracious you've all been in welcoming my husband and I to this country, my country. When I had done the genealogy and found out about my heritage, the first thing I did obviously was call my mom because I wanted to know if she had any awareness of it. And I think being African American, part of it is really not knowing so much about your lineage, your background, where you come from specifically. And it was exciting for both of us to discover more and understand what that really means. Never in a million years would I understand it as much as I do.
So that's when we learn how we don't.
I'm very overwhelmed, so I want to start by saying thank you very much for just how gracious you've all been in welcoming my husband and I to this country, my country. When I had done the genealogy and found out about my heritage, the first thing I did obviously was call my mom.
You did the interview, so you did.
Well, yesterday we were able to catch up with our correspondent, our senior correspondent for defense, who followed this visit all through CFON SCN, and this is an excerpt from that interview.
Yeah, well, it was exciting, yet challenging, considering the fact that you have two members, you could call them, of the royal families, although people say they're no longer members of royal families, in Nigeria for the first time on the invitation of the Chief of Defense Staff. So it's not just a social event only they're coming to attend. They're also, mingling with the top brass of the Nigerian military. So you expect that that regimentation would also be there. So, for instance, visiting the CDS, that's the Chief of Defense Staff, within the premises of the Armed Forces complex, you can imagine the security challenges you would confront as a reporter, the restrictions. As a reporter, I know at one of the ceremonies, Prince Harry said Nigeria is the first country in Africa to be part of Invictus. So for him, that's a plus. So if I am to draw from what he has said, and without speaking from the organization, I would say it's better late than never. But for the fact that Nigerians who participated at the Invictus Games, talking about members of the armed forces, won laurels, it's indication of the fact that, or indicative of the fact that if we participate more at such events, talking about Nigeria, the sky is bright and blue, and we could win more laurels. So, like I said earlier, I think it's better late than never. What will stick with me for life would be when they visited the school somewhere in Wuse, and they were received by the children, the warmth, the cultural displays. I think that for me, it's something that would live with me for a very long time. And the next would be when the grand reception was organized for them at the Armed Forces mess, where the Chief of Defense Staff and the Minister of Defense received them. That again was another moment that would live with me for a very long time, considering what you would call the thrills, and the culture, and the gifts they got. They got some gifts at that ceremony. The color, the ambience at that ceremony. The prince himself said he was, I say, overwhelmed by the warmth that he received, and he had continued to receive even after that time coming to Nigeria. So for me, I think those were memorable moments for me, as well as the time I got a clip when they arrived in Lagos. At the airport, there was also these cultural displays, and they couldn't help but they were carried away, expressed their emotions at the airport and afterwards. So for me, those were moments I think would live with me for a very long time. We didn't have the opportunity of having that interactions. Every attempt we came close to the prince. In attempt, to get an interview, we're told we weren't allowed. By those members of his team, as well as those on the side of the military. And so it was not going to be speaking to the media or conducting press interviews, except for public statements in the course of his tour, 3-day tour of Nigeria. But what we also gathered was, if we had wanted exclusive interviews, it could have been arranged, but there was a company responsible for managing that. So of course, it had full rights to, managing the interviews on behalf of the prince. So we didn't get that access. But talking about members of his team, they were all over the place ensuring the prince was comfortable, the prince was achieved all he wanted to achieve, he interacted well, there was that connect between him and members of the Invictus who were around, They were friendly though, but they were firm when they needed to be firm, especially when you tried to break that wall through and to politely get you off the way. For events that were strictly organized by the military top brass, talking about at the Defense or Armed Forces complex, the Armed Forces Officers Mess, those are areas where access is restricted. So you needed to get through to the military authorities to get a pass or accreditation, or your organization gets an accreditation to allow any member or official of its, to have access to cover. In this case, TVC is known and we have that accreditation. But for other events, social events, attended by the Prince, this was at the Defense Headquarters, and of course, being an accredited defense reporter, we had access. But when he left here and went for some other social engagements, like with INGOs, of course, the responsibility becomes that of the INGO to, grant that access. So you have to approach them for that access, or, get the information, get to the venue in good time, take a good position, and just wish for the best. Of course, you can't get it 100%, but just make sure you get the pictures, you get the kind of sounds you want, and if at all, you get an interview. Just like a journalist, professional journalist would do, you would have to research every subject or topic. So I did lots of research on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Even how to pronounce the name Sussex, I had to check it up online, because there's several modulations. Even in Nigeria, you had Sussex, Sussex, several twangs. But for me, I had to get it right online, and pour through several information, the life of the prince, his wife, the Invictus Games, the itinerary in Nigeria, what it would look like, where they've been before, now, his movements even before coming to Nigeria. I had to do lots of research to, and also to understand the etiquettes, surrounding him, or maybe before, while he was, in the palace, and after. Now he's still prince though, but that royalty is not, doesn't have the paraphernalia of that royalty anymore, and they to understand that, and the fact that he's coming to Nigeria as a private citizen, not coming as it were a member of the royal family. So understanding the etiquettes, and the aura, things to expect, so was, quite key for me. And the internet played a very good role. Lots of research on my mobile device and on this system. The whole event is the visits, and indeed has brought the spotlight, number one, on the Invictus Games, and Nigeria conquered the organization in Nigeria responsible for the Invictus, and as well as those participating in the Invictus Games. Not many of the wounded soldiers knew about the Invictus Games, so one heard from the other, and the message kept, kept on being passed by word of mouth, and eventually. But now this has brought the spotlights on the games, the organizations, and those involved, and the opportunities, and the fact that, in spite of the fact that many members of the armed forces have sustained life-threatening injuries, some have lost limbs, some have lost their hearing, some eye, like the one, that spoke at the reception. He says his hearing was barely 28%. He's lost one eyeball. He's lost an arm. But the fact that he still has something to live for. He's still serving in the Nigerian military, participating in sports on the platform of the Invictus Games as it is. And we're going to have more of such persons. So it's something that's going to give them, hope that in spite of the fact that they sacrificed their lives or their limbs or parts of their bodies or their organs, in service of the country, that there's still something to live for. For me, that's the message that has been amplified by the visit of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. I think the ultimate goal is the establishment of the Invictus Center in Abuja. That for the Chief of Defense Staff, he emphasized all through the visit, is his objective, and he's using his office to facilitate that. I think they've gotten a parcel of land where that center will be built. The design is already there. We saw the design on display at the reception, and that's a 3D design, and that center would cater for members of the Invictus Games in Nigeria. For that, for the Chief of Defense Staff, he sees that as his ultimate objective, and achieving that in real terms would bring him fulfillment. And for us, I think it will also give us some level of fulfillment too, as journalists and as Nigerians, that the sacrifices of our heroes still alive would not be in vain.
I think, the last part of that interview got a bit emotional. When Sifon was narrating, how the Prince, why the purpose for the game, which is of course to recognize what our heroes, the wounded heroes that we have done so far. I think that to a large extent, we should say big thank you to our wounded soldiers who have been on the forefront. Do you remember we had one last week?
One of the Invictus Nigerian conquered, I met Dean Ofuchiri or so. Sharing his story, the fact that he was a victim of a bomb blast, and then he says that for him the victory came that when he recovered, when he became conscious in the hospital, and he asked were there any other member of the troop that was injured, and they said no. So he felt fulfilled because his responsibility was to detect where the mines are. The fact that if there was going to be a blast and he's the only victim, that was enough for him. And this was coming from someone who, has 28% visibility, and also hearing, lost his limbs. So tells you a lot about how real it is for the soldiers who actually face this war on the war front. So thank you.
We want to say a very big thank you to all our wounded soldiers. I think that it's a big one, and they're doing the country very proud. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'll go straight to Sport News. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play. Governance, legislative matters, the economy, security, foreign affairs, internal affairs. Have a feel as strategic plays in the political space determine how we live in Nigeria. The players, the drama, chess piece moves. Be kept informed. Watch analysis of major happenings in the political space and how it affects you. Watch Politics on Sunday.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
And in sport, Nigeria under-17 women's football team, the Flamingos, step up preparation for the return leg fixture against Burkina Faso counterpart in the third round of the FIFA under-17 Women's World Cup. Just like in the second round qualifier against Central African Republic, the team were held to 1-1 in the first leg at the Bamako. Head coach Bankole Olowokere is confident in his team turning things around in the second leg at home. Chidi Amoni gave Nigeria the lead, assisted by Peace Effiong in the 55th minute. The team conceded in the 84th minute due to miscommunication in the defense. The team returned to Nigeria Tuesday and have been training to improve cohesion and other tactics. The team will play the return leg fixture against Burkina Faso on Saturday at the main bowl of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. The FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup is a biennial international tournament, and this year's finals will be staged in the Dominican Republic.
The Nigeria senior men's football team, the Super Eagles, now have a substantive coach after nearly 2 months of uncertainties following the exit of Jose Pesiro. The Minister of Sports Development, John Eno, commended the Nigeria Football Federation for the choice of an indigenous coach. President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Guzo, said the federation listened to the yearnings of Nigerians. And joining us live in the studio is Victor Okoye, a sports journalist, to speak on this new addition to the Super Eagles team. Victor, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And great to have you here in the studio. So, but I'll first of all start with, what is your opinion about having Finidi George, having the NFF appoint Finidi George, an indigenous coach, to manage the Super Eagles?
Yeah, I'm so happy for Finidi George, and I think the NFF got it right, to have appointed him as the substantive coach of the Super Eagles. I've always been an advocate for, indigenous coach to take charge of the Super Eagles, because we saw what the likes of what's his name now?
Was it Siri?
No, 2013. No, 2013.
Stephen Keshi.
Late Stephen Keshi. We saw what he did with the team in 2013 in South Africa. With the likes of Amokachi as part of his crew, and we know if he can do that, why not? Any other indigenous coach can do it. So I've always been advocating for a local coach to take over, the realms of affairs on the Super Eagles.
I think one of the challenges that Nigerians have is the tactics at which these coaches imbibe when they are at the helms of affair. I remember when Stephen Keshi was the late Stephen Keshi, may so rest in peace, was the head coach then. Nigerians were just saying the only thing we understand is shoot the ball straight. We had just one. I think the only time we had a beautiful match was against Cote d'Ivoire when Nigeria won 4-1. The tactics at which there's a difference. How do we close up that gap? Between the foreign coaches that we have and the local coaches that we have. How do we close up that difference?
So the good thing is Finidi George has come with a lot of experience. Haven't been there and done that at the foreign scene and both the local scene, and he's been an understudy of Pesero for 21 months. So he has seen everything that Pesero has done, and I think he's going to build on what he has done. Even though so many people were castigating Pesero for being too defensive. So I think he's coming with the energy of Pesero and a little bit of his own plans to probably make the team a more attacking team. So by the time he blends these two together, defense and attack, I think the team will be a well-rounded team, and we'll see them do great things.
All right. So there's always this issue of contract terms, and it's never put out there, but from the unveiling press conference, we're made to understand that it was a one-year contract. But then you had the NFF president, grant an interview to say that it's a 2-year contract. But his explanation still makes it look like a 1-year contract, because he says, if he gets to lead us to the semi-finals of the AFCON, then he gets to keep the job, although it's a 2-year contract. So what's your take on that? A bit of confusion in his contract terms.
So I think the major target, like he said, is to get us to the semi-final of the African Cup of Nations, and then I think he would definitely take us to the World Cup. I see no reason why he, after doing very well in the African Cup of Nations, he shouldn't be allowed to take the team to. Then talking about the 1-year and the 2-year contract thing, I'm glad NFF president came out to debunk the issue that it was not 1 year and it's a 2-year contract. So I believe we should give Finidi George time to work on this team, and at the end of the day, see where he takes them to.
But then, Victor, we should be learning from countries like Senegal, and we can see that what Senegal had done with their coach. They came to the AFCON in Egypt, and they didn't even make it to they left in the knockout stages. But they were very patient until they eventually won, and now they came to Cote d'Ivoire. They left quite early. They still haven't sent him packing. We given Finidi George a 2-year contract that's even dependent on performance. Does that indicate that we're ready for a long-term project with the Super Eagles? Because he's talking about the tactics and the formations, but then these things take time to. So now we're putting the coach under pressure of performing which would mean that he would be very much interested in getting an immediate result rather than building a team that's probably going to take the world by storm in a couple of years.
Funny enough, that's what we have in this part of the world where we are. You know, everybody is a coach. Everybody wants to dictate to the coach what he should do. But I think, like you said, ordinarily he should be given time to build this team, you know, the way he wants to do it. And then we'll see where it takes it from there, ordinarily. But the NFF, we don't know if they will be that patient with Finidi George. But it's easier said than done.
You know, sometimes I always think that Nigeria, the Super Eagles, are always operating like Chelsea Football Club. I'm sorry.
All right, but then as an ex-international,
I'm actually coming to that. You know, they always, you know, do things like that, because if you look at it, you know, given a time frame, 1 year, 2 years, is not enough to build a team.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Arteta is on a team for almost 7 years now.
They haven't won a title.
And they haven't won a title. You know, yeah, but Klopp was on a team for how many years? They had to build up. I'm just saying, can we start looking at this timeline and this time lapse, you know, that we give these coaches to come and perform miracles? You can't do miracles with, you know, how many players. I know, to just buttress our point as well, I think I have a challenge with ex-players and ex-players having relationship with the current players. For example, you remember the case of Olise and I think it was
Mikel
and Enyama. You understand? What should be the relationship, you know, between these ex-players and, you know, and the players that, of course, they're coaching?
It's very good. The relationship is very, very important, you know. It makes them, you know, gel with what the coach is, and then it brings about respect too. Sometimes when they don't have relationship with the coach, you see respect start to, you know, there's this issue of respect, and it goes on to affect the performance of the team. So I think relationship is very, very important with the team, but probably not to getting too familiar with the team so that the disrespect comes and they start looking at you as one of these guys, one of these guys. Well, you know, but respect in the sense that you deal with them professionally. You deal with them professionally and know where to draw the line, okay? Yeah. So I think in terms of relationship, it's very, very important to have relationship, cordial relationship with the players.
Right, that's quite interesting. And then also, finally for me, I don't know if he has any other thing to add, but you know, when you look at how he responded in a press conference, talking about his immediate target, he wants to get on the job, put Nigeria in contention to qualify with the next, you know, games of World Cup qualifiers that we have. Do you think that he exuded that confidence that would be, you know, enough to manage all the egos we have in the Super Eagles?
First off, it was good to see that he didn't put money in front. You know, he came out explicitly to say that his job is to make sure the job is done, and I'm glad. I saw the way he was composed and told us of what he wants to do for the team, and I'm glad. And I have belief in the coach that he's going to do well, if given the needed resources, you know, the respect and the support. I'm sure he's going to do well.
My question might be very funny. What do we have to settle for semi-final when we can go for the finals?
Okay, so he's just being a Nigerian because it's the same thing we're talking about. So he has to build.
No.
You were talking about building.
Yes, I know. But if you have to build, just tell us you're building. Do you understand? Don't tell us semi-finals. Just tell us it's going to take a process.
Okay, good.
Do you understand? Don't tell us we want to get us to the semi-finals. Just tell us it's going to take a process.
I think they didn't want to put too much pressure on him. You saw even Pesero, they did the same thing to him. They said semi-finals and semi-finals. He got to the final. So I think they are trying to follow that process to make sure, you know, that he does well. And I believe he can go all the way to win the African Cup of Nations.
All right. Thank you very much,
Victor. It was nice having you on the show this morning.
And just last time on the show, the 10th edition of the African Magic Viewers' Choice Award was a night of recognition for exceptional talent in Nollywood. The ceremony kicked off on Friday with a vibrant cultural day celebration and continued with the actual award event that would see the biggest names in African film and television converge on Lagos. Nominations and winners were announced live with Breath of Life, taking home awards for Best Writer in the Movie, Best Lead Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best and Female category, and the Best Movie of the year.
After the awards, Toyin Abraham's praise for King Dibanko lays the AMVC win as Best Lead Actress in the movie Adere ignited an online debate, sparking speculation of a rivalry with Funke Akindele.
I don't know why Nigerians just like to just start.
Like everyone was on Funke, and I'm just like, leave her alone. I mean, AMVCA is not about her. She didn't win, but she's doing a great job out there. She's doing a great job.
Very great job. And controversial Nigerian singer Abib Okikiola, popularly known as Portable, has released a new song following his recent arrest for failing to settle a debt. The singer was arrested in Lagos by police operative over his alleged refusal to complete payment of his luxury G-Wagon car. The Zazu crooner had purchased a Mercedes-Benz GLE 350 from a car dealer but failed to complete the payment. It was gathered that the Portable had paid only 13 million naira out of the 27 million naira cost of the automobile. Said to have refused to pay the 14 million naira balance.
Tiwa Savage is celebrating the success of her film, which hits the top 10 on Prime Video in 14 countries. Nigerian singer and actress Tiwa Tokpe Omolara Savage, professionally known as Tiwa Savage, celebrated the international success of her film Water and Gary on Prime Video. The 14 countries where Water and Gary is getting love include Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Benin Republic, Rwanda, Togo, Georgia, Zambia, Cyprus, Uganda, Ukraine, Tanzania, Qatar, and South Africa.
And lastly, on entertainment news, the movie Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, which explores a revolutionary fight against colonialism and patriarchy through the creation of Abeokuta's Women Union, will also feature the late icon's grandchildren. The biographical film Fumilayo Kuti, Ransom Kuti, has hit the cinemas nationwide 2 days ago. But the biopic was among the Nigerian featured films selected for screening at the 12th African International Film Festival 2022. I think that's a
yeah, definitely. That's quite a great one, and also shows growth in the Nollywood in Nigeria, the investments that are coming in, and we're hoping that this could spread to sports. We would love, a lot more, maybe gleeds in sports like we're seeing in the Nollywood.
Thank you very much for joining us on the show. We'll do this next week. My name is Ademola Lawrence.
And I'm Jane Francis Nweze. Thank you for joining us in Live from the Abuja.
Every major news story is